Welcome to Modern Entrepreneur. Today we have Rachel Schnorr, Joseph Hogg, Kristen Mims, Carla Johnson, Welcome to Modern Entrepreneur. I'm Landon Ray, and this is Bill Honaker. For more than 30 years, he has been helping businesses ranging from Fortune 100 firms to individual entrepreneurs, protecting their patents, trademarks, and copyrights. A former patent office examiner, he's a partner with Dickinson Wright, PLLC, and he's especially good, apparently, at keeping clients out of court. Thank you so much for being here, Bill.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So tell us what we need to know. We're, our audience is largely small businesses, and my experience is that I've started a number of businesses, and I don't usually think about things like copyrights or patents or trademarks until quite a bit down the road when I feel like I've got something that's actually worth protecting, and then I go like, oh, maybe I should do something about this. What does a small business owner, kind of in my shoes, need to know about that?
I think a small business owner, number one, should know that every business has intellectual property. Intellectual property has never been more valuable than it is today. Most financial experts will place the value of an intellectual property portfolio at 1/3 or more of the total value of your business. Investors, someone that might want to purchase your business, they look for the intellectual property portfolio. I think a business from day one should be concerned about intellectual property. I attended your presentation yesterday, and the one thing that was really hit home for me was in your processes. Business is a process to make a profit, and there's a process that any business should put in place that's follows what you said is a good process. It's fairly automatic, takes very little time. It assures your IP is protected, and it assures your business is protected against the IP of other. Every business should have it. It's a 3-step process from day one.
What is the process?
Process is, number one, recognizing intellectual property is important.
Just noticing like what you got. Like I just wrote a blog post, and that counts.
That counts. Any content is intellectual property. Your business name is intellectual property. You want to protect those. The process itself is recognize intellectual property, trademarks, copyrights, patents, trade secrets. Every business has trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets. Secondly, you want to collect those and get in the habit of collecting them. There's various ways to do that.
Just cataloging it.
Cataloging. You want your employees, especially your innovators, your management team, to always be thinking about it and collecting. And the best way to train them to do that is to answer 2 questions. Is it important to the business? And do I want my competition not to have it? If it is, collect it.
Just and then file away.
You may or may not file. That's determined in the last step, and that's the protect step. You meet with counsel. I advise every client to do that on a quarterly basis from day one. And then in that meeting, you look at what you've collected and make decisions. Should I protect it? Is it worth protecting? Am I going to get the value from this? And then your collecting should be somewhat formal, so that if today I ask you, what do you have in the way of intellectual property, you can fire an email to me and say, here it is. I just literally, about 2 weeks ago, had a lawyer friend of mine, Neil Streffling. He sent over a list of intellectual property. His client wanted to invest $5 million in this company. I looked at the list. The copyrights weren't registered, the trademarks weren't registered, the patents were in different company names. Called Neil back, said this is sort of a mess, it's gonna take some work. He said, drop it, we're out of it, we're not even going to invest. If you don't tell me it's in good form, my client's not interested. So that client, because they didn't do what they should have been doing on a regular basis, lost a $5 million investment.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So it's not hard.
So we're talking about, registering a trademark is a very slow process. It took us, what, 2 years or something to get a registered trademark?
Yeah, it can. That's pretty typical. But registration gives you tremendous advantage, and one is it almost and actually, this morning I looked up to make sure you were registered, because I like to tell businesses, hey,
I just bought your name.
Isn't this important to you? But because it's registered, if I were going to go into a business similar to yours, and I wanted to use pick a trademark, and I say I want to use, your mark, I'll go to the Patent and Trademark Office and say, oh, it's already taken. So you're, just by registering, you're self-policing for no charge at all.
Given the sort of global nature of almost all of our businesses anymore, what do you recommend for a small business in terms of thinking about protecting their stuff internationally?
If you're going international, particularly with trademarks, whatever countries you're going into, you have to seriously look at registration, because in most other countries, trademark registration goes to those that filed, or trademark ownership goes to those that filed.
Instead of first use?
First use.
Yeah.
So we deal, just had a client was being purchased, and during due diligence, it was learned that their distributors in Europe had registered all their trademarks. So we had to go and buy them back. So in the middle of selling the business, we're spending another $250,000 to buy back what was ours.
From some people that were supposed to be your partners.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
But that happens, or they can even be hijacked, where somebody in Europe looks at your business, thinks, well, they may be coming to Europe, and they'll register your name. And when you show up, that starts
to get really expensive, right? I mean, there's a bunch of jurisdictions, and they're not all easy. And I think that, if I'm not mistaken, there's some that even require you to have a presence in over there. It gets really expensive. So how do you make that decision?
Well, you make that again
because the thing is that, like I said, it's not like it used to be where you make a decision to go do business in Europe. The fact is, you put your stuff online and it's downloadable. You are in Europe.
That's correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's different ways of doing business in Europe where the trademarks would be critical. How do you make that decision? I go back to the process. When you're sitting there in the quarterly review meeting with your counsel, you say, look, we're going into Europe. What do you suggest? What should we be doing that fits with your particular business? And you get a cost. Most intellectual property is a flat fee. How much does it cost to register a trademark? Typically it's a fee. So you weigh that cost, that benefit, the risk of not doing it, and you make a business decision. But the important thing is that you're making the decision. You're not being surprised.
Getting surprised down the road.
That's the critical thing.
Exactly.
So, and very few businesses, even the mega businesses, register in every country of the world, because it is so expensive.
And a rigmarole.
Yes, it can be.
So you're focusing now, you're obviously an attorney, and focusing now on helping entrepreneurs manage their IP. Is that basically what you're up to? So tell me, what piece of advice you would have given yourself at a younger age as you were starting out your career that would have made your process smoother and easier?
Become a public speaker a lot sooner.
No kidding?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because it allows you to meet a lot of people, allows you to help a lot of people in a way that's different than sitting in an office.
Waiting for the phone to ring.
Yeah, and it requires you to better understand what clients need. It requires you to be even more up to speed on everything that's going on and all the nuances of law that affect business owners. So that would have been the biggest thing I would have done differently.
Plus it seems like you enjoy it.
I do, but up until 4 years ago, I was petrified by it.
What changed?
Absolutely. Decided that I wanted to do it, knew it was something that was personally a hurdle, and decided to overcome it. And And I guess part of what would I do different, I would have hired more experts. I hired speaking coaches, to train me, to help me be a better speaker, and, to invest in myself, and I believe in that wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So tell me more about that. What are you learning these days? What is the kind of most exciting cutting edge for you?
Cutting edge with regard to intellectual property?
Or just in life in general?
Actually, cutting edge for me is what's been going on here in yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I practiced law at a time when you had to be in the office. Everything was done. It was office centric. There was no internet. And today, it moves so fast. Marketing, getting your word out there, the ease of doing it, but also the complexity that comes with doing it, is to me the most exciting thing right now. And I have learned so much in day and a half.
Yeah.
I got a day and a half to go.
Yeah.
From the experts in this area. It's been pretty amazing to me.
Good. Good. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, I really enjoy having the opportunity to speak here.
Yeah.
But attending has been the true benefit. It has been fantastic.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it. So when you think about the arc of your career, looking back, from however long from now, as you wrap it up, what do you imagine you'd like your legacy to be?
My true legacy, being a good dad, a good parent. From the standpoint of the legal world, people trusted me. I help people in my special area.
Yeah.
So I'm a grandfather now, so
good for you.
I'm raising a granddaughter.
Awesome.
I mean, not raising. I mean, I'm helping. My daughter's doing the
hard work.
Yeah. That's the one thing that you grow up, you spend your life. Everybody's saying having grandkids is unbelievable, and it is.
It is.
It is.
Okay, it's the one thing you're not lying about.
I couldn't be more happy.
Oh, that's so
and
good.
Technology allows me every day. I talk to her, FaceTime every day.
So fun.
So,
really?
Yeah, it's great. So
cool. So modern entrepreneur, we're calling it this because we're trying to figure out, people's perspective on what's unique about getting into business today. That's different from 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You've been doing this a while. What do you see?
It's an easier way to really get into business in a big way, but it's an incredible challenge to understand how to do that.
Yeah.
Like any business, every day you're redefining your business. So in the law field, it is so far behind every other field, it's amazing. And learning how to get your word out, how to help clients, how to generate new business is, to me, easier than it's ever been, but so unbelievably complex that it's confusing. I mean, it should be extremely easy, but it changes so much so fast.
Yeah.
And I'm learning you can't just sit in your office. You have to get out. You have to go to these events.
Yep.
And I know a lot of these events for a period of time were starting to be done through webinars and everything else, but you miss so much by sitting in your office for an hour when you could be in an event like this, because it's not just listening to the speakers, it's listening to all the questions and then getting pulled aside in the hallway and learning, and that I find to be fascinatingly tricky.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we have the tools and the ability to reach an audience that was absolutely impossible just a short time ago, and yet the tools seem to just like morph and get more complicated and change faster than you can even kind of grasp them, huh?
Yeah. I leave here and I go to a seminar in Colorado on SEO, search engine optimization.
My gosh.
My speaking coach is going to be there and a woman that I met. But I'm going, but I'm thinking that may have been, yesterday's news from what I'm hearing here.
You never know.
Yeah, I just,
It's hard to know.
Yeah.
Got to try it out. Well, hey, Bill, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
I really appreciate your the conversation. Would you sign our wall?
Oh, sure.
All right.
Just a bit of work. There's a